everyone, welcome to the Red-athon vlog. The theme of this readathon is to read books with red somehow on the cover. And before we get started on the vlogginess, I just want to warn you that I did not know before that I was going to be having siding done on the outside of the house this week. So I'm hoping that the banging and hammering and clacking will not be too much of an issue. I'm going to try to film my updates in the evening, but if they do slip into this video somewhere, I apologize ahead of time. It just couldn't be helped. It is actually Sunday, the day before the readathon, but quite a few things have already happened for this readathon already. I'm kind of a co-host in training for this readathon. Wilma, who officially hosts the readathon, has asked me to help out with a few things for the readathon. It kind of became in this one that I was already doing quite a lot to help out for this. So Wilma asked me if I wanted to transition into being a co-host. The next color that we choose, that will be when I'm officially co-host, but I'm co-host in training. That's what I'm calling myself. Never co-hosted anything, so it will be a good way to figure out what my capacity in the readathon is going to be and see how everything works out in terms of that. In terms of things that have already happened the day before the readathon, chatted a little bit with Wilma on what our general plan was on posting information. A lot of it is going to be on Discord, but we are doing a lot of Zoom meetings so that we can, as a reading community, communicate through that way, which I've set all that stuff up earlier on the week, so I feel like I've accomplished something. And today I took one of the photos for one of the Instagram challenges that I'm hosting. So I'm doing the Tuesday and the Thursday Instagram challenge, and I will show you the Tuesday photo when it gets to Tuesday. I'm really pleased with how it turned out. And with all that accomplished, all I need to officially do before this readathon starts is make my washi tape checklist for this readathon. It's of course going to be red themed. I hope I can find enough red washi tape for it. I'll show you a little clip of that when I get that done. As for the actual reading, I'm thinking I'm going to start a little bit early, and I'm going to start out with Firebird by Mercedes Lackey. I was going to audiobook this, but I'm not 100% sure now that I want to do that, because I've heard a sample of it and I don't know that I really like how the reader is reading the book. So I'm trying to decide if I want to download the book and just have it in case I want to listen to it while doing odd jobs and, you know, just not listen to it all the time, or if I just want to do away with that and pick another book to audiobook of my reading list. But for sure I want to start with this book. So far that's the plan, and let's jump into the rest of the vlog. It's officially the evening of day one of the readathon, and things are going fairly decent with reading. It's been really super rainy, surprisingly. So I did a few things that were like work for the readathon, setting up, you know, some links and stuff, and then mostly I did some chores and listened to the audiobook of Firebird, which I did not end up starting early because I had forgotten that my mom and I wanted to do movie nights on Sunday nights, and we decided on Sunday to watch It Chapter 2. So I enjoyed the movie. By the way, it was fun. I didn't end up starting Firebird until midnight in my time zone, which works because that's the official start for me in my time zone. And I have to say that the audiobook is better than I thought it was going to be. It's one of those audiobooks where you just have to speed up the reader, but I do that anyway. So yes, I'm glad that it worked out. It works for me to audiobook just because A, I'll finish it faster, B, the chapters in Firebird are surprisingly long. Like each chapter is almost an hour and a half long, which I don't know if I could focus long enough to complete the chapters the way I would need to finish this in the time frame that I want to, because I'd like to finish it in like a couple of days. And then also the writing in it is a little bit dense. Like, there's just a lot of words to describe something that you probably could have done with less words, but it's not in a bad way. It's in a way that does work for the time period and the style of the book. So I'm not hating on the denseness. And also it is kind of mid fantasy. So I think that works to like let yourself have a little writing style freedom. The thing though about the other Mercedes Lackey book, which was The Black Swan, which is actually the second book in this duology, but I read the second book first because I didn't know it was a duology. I just wanted to read The Black Swan. The same thing that I kind of had, but less so, is that the princes in these books are very womanizing. I feel like the prince in this one is less so of a jerk in this than in Black Swan, which makes it a lot easier to get into. I will say in the Black Swan, he did grow as a person. Like, he got better. This dude's at least probably gonna get better too, but he's not as much of a jerk as the prince in the Black Swan. So I'm happy to say that. Other than that, I'm enjoying it. If you don't know, this is a retelling of the Russian folktale, The Firebird, and I'm not super familiar with it, even though I've seen excerpts of the ballet, of course. So I'm kind of going and looking things up online to familiarize myself with the fairy tale so I can compare it. The main character, Ilya, he is a prince, and he's kind of not even shooting for the throne, but he has a lot of brothers that are, and a very dogmatic father who none of his brothers or even his father really like him. He's trying to navigate that, and then right at where I am, they've discovered that all of the fruit trees are being stolen from, so each brother is supposed to go out into the fruit trees and guard them and see who is stealing this stuff. And so that's kind of at the spot where I am with this. I'm about 80 pages in. So I would like to get a fair chunk of this done, at least a few more chapters read. I probably could find some kind of craft or something to do later tonight to do that, but I'm going to eat dinner now, and I will see you later. It's Tuesday, and I'm getting ready for the Zoom game night that we're having going on. Me and Wilma decided to do a character guessing game, so I hope it works out. I'm really excited. A brief update on Firebird is that there are now talking animals, or like now the main character can talk to animals, and it's very, very amusing. And that's all I really have to say about the book now. But now I'm going to kind of jump on early because it's like we have like maybe 8 minutes before the Zoom meeting starts. I only have 4 more hours in my audiobook, so I'm going to try to finish it while coloring out of this Sherry Boldy steampunk coloring book. It's got like the cutest little characters in it. This is the one that I've colored before. So I'm gonna flip through here and find a sheet out of this to color while finishing up my audiobook. Yes, sorry that you all are lopsided. I'm too lazy to try to figure out anything better to set up my camera with. But it's Wednesday, which means it's day 3 of the readathon. I finished Firebird last night. I give it a 4.25 stars. I do think it's overwritten in some spots. Like, a lot of times there are times when you could use 2 sentences instead of a full paragraph or 2 paragraphs to describe something in it, you know, one of those moments. But overall, it was a pretty fun fairy tale retelling, and I did enjoy the adventure of it, even though I feel like the main character was like knocked out or sleeping for a lot of it, but it was purposeful. It does sort of follow the fairy tale sort of format, meaning that it is a little bit more plot driven than character driven, but I think in the fairy tale format it actually works to do that. So yeah. And then last night I read 54 pages of Get a Life. Chloe Brown. It is delightfully British. Got a little bit of sarcasm, a little bit of just, I don't know, British authors just write in a certain way, and it's delightful. And I really like the witty banter between the two main characters in this. So I think I'm going to enjoy this quite a bit. I don't read a lot of romance, as I said in my to be read video, but I occasionally dip my toe in, and I think this one will be one that I will enjoy. The main character, Chloe Brown, has fibromyalgia, and so it's really interesting to see that perspective in a character. In about 15 minutes, because it is 10:45, I will be doing the read together. So we're going to do a read together on Zoom, and I don't know how many people are going to show up, but we're all going to gather together and read whatever book we're reading, and it should be fun. I don't think I've ever done a read together, like virtually, with a readathon yet. So I don't really know how it works, but I'm assuming we're just going to sit quietly and read together. There's a droning sound in the video, but I don't really want to wait till like the workers that are working on my house go away. I just now had a fabulous chat with some of the other people involved with the readathon. It was just a day where we got on Zoom and had just a bookish chat and talked about whatever we wanted. It was only supposed to be for an hour, but we went for an hour and a half, and it was super fun chatting with everybody that joined. So thanks for joining the fabulous discussion moment. As for reading, I've gotten past the halfway point, if you will, in Get a Life, Chloe Brown. If you follow my channel, you know that the steamy scenes are not my favorite element of stories, which is why I don't read a lot of romance. Still like the sense of humor that's going on in this book. I actually kind of got a little tiny bit emotional. I didn't cry, but I got a little oh, in my heart, a little feelings. When Chloe was describing what it was like when she started to have symptoms of fibromyalgia and her chronic pain in this. Now, while I don't have chronic pain, I do have a neurological disorder called dyspraxia, and so I really related to how certain things can impede you doing certain stuff with your life when she was describing that, and also kind of being dismissed by medical professionals who are supposed to help you. I really related to her experience in terms of those elements, and it was making my heart have a little bit of all the feelings. I also like that the two main characters in this book, even though they are an interracial couple, well, they're not technically a couple yet, but I'm assuming by the end of the book they will be. I like that none of their things that are issues in their relationship or things like that have to do with race. They have to do either with class or their own background or things like that. So I really appreciate that they're just people to each other, and maybe that just means an extra lot to me because my dad is white and my mom is black and they're an interracial couple. So I like seeing that these characters can just be people, and that is really rewarding for me. The character Red in this, he is adorable. He's just oh. I really like that his character too so far is represented in a way that kind of dismisses normal romance stereotypes. I think because of the way his appearance is described, he has a lot of tattoos, he's involved with doing artwork, he has a motorcycle, he is from a low income sort of neighborhood is his background. I think most books in this genre would represent him as a bad boy or something like that, but I like that it kind of dismisses that, and he's a really kind person that uses his past experiences as, fuel to be a really decent person and really warm to people, even though he has past trauma with his earlier relationship. And I like too that it shows that just because you look a certain way or have certain things, that you don't have to be in a certain box that people stereotype you as. And the same is true for Chloe in terms of how she's viewed because of her chronic pain and things like that, and how that is stereotyped in a certain way, and how she doesn't necessarily fit into that stereotypical box either. Like, she still wants to push herself and try to do things, which is the point of her doing the get a life list that she's doing in this book. And so I think that is really nice how the characters are represented. Okay, I can't talk. I'm either gonna get a lot read today or a very little read today. I need to clean my bathroom and I need to possibly do some video editing. I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna blow that off or not and just read this book because I want to finish it by the end of the day. So we shall see how life goes. It's Friday and I realized that I wear this shirt for vlogs a lot, but it's comfortable in the summer and I like that. So that's, I guess, why. Plus it's appropriate for the redathon. Am I right for that? So today I just got off the Zoom chat. It was the second game day of the week. So that was a little while ago. That was like an hour ago that I got off of that. It's 5:33 right now. And last night I completed Get a Life, Chloe Brown. Even though this wasn't in my comfort zone because I don't usually read romance, sorry about my dog's barking, I think it's pretty good for the genre and I enjoyed it quite a bit considering it's not in my comfort zone. I will say, admittedly, that I did scan the steamy scenes. I scanned those sections because it just doesn't float my boat. It's not my cup of tea. But other than that, really liked this. And I really liked in particular that this book is about people trying to build a really healthy relationship where we really communicate and doing things that we need to do to make that happen so that they can treat each other with mutual respect. And I really loved that element of it. And I also liked that it kind of discussed ways of dealing with pain and with trauma that were also equally as healthy. I gave this 4.25 stars. And I wouldn't be opposed to reading something else by this author if something struck my interest. I'll just, like I did this time, scan the parts that are these, steamy scenes because they're not for me. But, there's still merit to that book. Last night I was left in a crisis for which of the next 3 books I would pick to read. My secret heart of hearts wanted to read the book Scarlet, but I thought maybe I should read one of the other 2 books because those 2 books are actually entirely red, and I wanted to read a book that had like entirely red cover. So I read a little bit of Cursed, and honestly, I could tell that this book was going to require more commitment than 3 days just because of the way it's written and the size of the font and just the general type of book that it is because it's an Arthurian legend retelling. So I don't want to rush reading this book and I want to give it a really solid chance for me to enjoy it. So in the end, I thought that the best choice would be Tiffany D. Jackson's Monday's Not Coming, which I am very intrigued by. It's a YA contemporary, hard-hitting one, by the way. So I think that this definitely is something that would be more doable in 3 days. The thing about it is that the writing I'm really enjoying so far, but I'm only 30 pages in and my heart hurts for the main character already, and so I'm like, oh no, this book's gonna hurt a little bit, isn't it? But I kind of knew that going in to it because it is about the main character Claudia and her friend going missing. I have been switching from reading it in print and listening to it in audiobook because I feel like I could knock this book out in the 3-day time frame if I do that. I am enjoying the audiobook as well. Haven't read as much of this as I want to because like I said, I've only read 30 or so pages. So I'm hoping to get a big chunk of it listened to or read tonight. And that is the general plan. Glad though that I'm really liking the writing style because that will definitely help me complete this quickly and hopefully lead to a good reading experience, even though I know it's gonna be sad, y'all. I am off to lay down because my neck sort of hurts, and I may watch some YouTube and then I'll read some, and I'll let you know how everything goes. It is Sunday. I skipped yesterday. I think it was for a super valid reason, which was that I was just so bone tired on Saturday because I didn't sleep very well Friday night, and then I got an early start in the morning because our read together in my time zone was in the morning, so I was making sure everything was going well for that. But it was really fun reading with everybody that joined their read together. I listened to my audiobook and color. I should show you my coloring pages. This one's the one that I did during the read together. Super cute, girl with a dragon. And then that other night when I colored this super cute little steampunk chick. So those were what I was doing while audiobooking the current book, which was super fun. Which was also kind of nice because my book was a little bit sad. But also, I did take a nap after the read-along, and I had to take another nap because I went to Guitar Center to get an amp, but they didn't have it, so my mom and I had to order it. And after that, I was just super tired. But I also did an update because Monday's Not Coming, which I did finish today, is the kind of book where you need to marinate on your thoughts about it. And I also think it's the kind of book where I needed to read the entire thing before I could really drop in an update on you. And I'm kind of glad that I did because I'm still sort of unclear on some of my thoughts about it. There are a lot of things that I enjoyed about this and would definitely recommend checking out this book for. First of all, Tiffany D. Jackson's writing style is really great. It's kind of in my wheelhouse of being poetical and things like that. I really enjoyed how she wrote the narration of the main character and how it was very age appropriate to where the character is at the time. And also, I liked that I really related to the main character on certain points. She is a dancer, first of all, and then also she has a learning disability. So it was really interesting to see how I had things in common with her and really know what the author was talking about when she would write about those different things. I, for some reason, because I only really scan blurbs to see if something is interesting to me, thought that this book was going to be more investigative in terms of the main character, Claudia. Her friend Monday goes missing, and she's trying to basically tell adults in her life, hey, there's something not right here. We definitely need to find her. So I thought it was going to be sort of like she was going to basically be kind of investigative about it, and she is a little bit, but that's not really primarily what this book focuses on. I feel like this book very much focuses on, you know, found family, friendship, and then loss, second of all, and also discusses a variety of other social topics in terms of those things. I think it's a really good study on how we as adults really have the power to help and protect the youth of society. And even if they're not our children, we can definitely have the power to give youth what they need or take into account the needs of children. And I really like that that is discussed in this and how it's approached in a really interesting way through the lens of Claudia's character. So I thought that was my favorite element of this. But I do have two main qualms with this book. The main one is the non-linear timeline. I actually tend to enjoy books and media that do have non-linear timelines. I think those can be really impactful and interesting. However, the way it was executed in this book was a little bit confusing. There aren't chapters in this book. Everything is considered before or after an event, and I think the way some of the things are described is confusing in terms of sometimes it'll say 2 years before the before, and or 1 year before the before. So that, in terms of that, was hard to keep track of. Sometimes I would forget what was a before and what was an after section. And then also, I thought that I could grasp what the before and after event was, but it turned out not to be the event that I thought it was. So by the time the book kind of had the impactful reveal, if you will, if you could call it that, I was like, what? I was unprepared and definitely confused, and I kind of felt like I'd imagined everything in the book like wrong. So that was one qualm that I had with it. And then the other qualm that I have is that it does cover so many things that are going on in Claudia's life, and so many social issues and so many things, that sometimes I felt like there were too many at times, and it distracted from what I felt should be the main focus of the book. And also made me feel like maybe this book could have been a little bit shorter, because maybe we didn't need like every single one of those things. I guess if you want to think of it as in real life though, not every little issue that you have comes at a grouping of 2 or 3 issues, right? They can be like 10 issues that are coming at you at once. And so I guess that's a realistic quality to this book, but I feel like I would have appreciated it being more focused on what was going on with the Monday story and less on some of the other issues that were going on in Claudia's life. Now that I've read the book and kind of know what the event that's during the before and after is, maybe if I reread it, I think I would enjoy that element more, or the book would have more of an impact to me, because I wouldn't have to go through the confusion process. All in all though, I still would recommend this book. I definitely found more things that I liked about it than the things that I didn't like about it. I'm kind of divided on if I want to give this a 4-star or a 4.25 star rating, just because I do think I need to just think about this book more and possibly reread this book at some point, but it's definitely worth picking up if you don't mind really hard-hitting things and books that may make you sad. I did have to take a small break from it yesterday and just kind of read something else for a moment, even if it was just 2 pages, because it doesn't have a lot of up moments or a lot of light moments. It does have a few, but they're not like comedic. They're more like just, hey, something good is happening in Claudia's life, yay. But I would definitely read another book by Tiffany D. Jackson. That was my last book. It's 6:19 now. I'm probably not gonna do much more reading. If I do, I will probably read my annotated Little Women. That's probably what I will do for the rest of the hours of the readathon if I do some reading, but I'm probably gonna watch a movie tonight because Sunday's movie night. Guess that's it for this readathon. I read 3 books that I ended up really liking, and all of them were kind of not necessarily in my super comfort zone for the most part. So it's really good that I found some new authors that I enjoyed, and also one author that I've read from before that I enjoyed their books. I don't think I found any new super favorite books, but I definitely think they're all books that I would recommend for different reasons. Thank you for watching this long video, because I tried to make it shorter, guys, but I know it's at least 30 minutes. So I hope you enjoyed me chatting about these books and just seeing my wackadoodle moment. I'm gonna let you guys go. Thank you for watching, my fabulous peeps, and I will see you all soon. Bye.